Hello, my name is Claude, and I'm grateful to be able to share this mentor spotlight with you today. And thank you for Bob and my fellow mentors for giving me the opportunity to share a little bit about my life. So let's get started. My name again is Claude Kershner. I was born in the city of Bluebell, Pennsylvania, which is a suburb right outside of Philadelphia. And this is my mother and my father in this photo here, and my two sisters. My parents ended up getting divorced when I was 8 years old. And my two sisters, and one of the reasons why that divorce was probably eminent is because both of my sisters had pretty severe learning disabilities. My younger sister is nonverbal autistic. My older sister just has special needs. So this is also my dog up here. Her name is Lucy. Most of my childhood was spent out in the woods exploring with my dog Lucy, and we would just have great adventures out there. And also, sports was a big part of my recreational time. I spent very little time in front of the TV or Nintendo or Game Boy. I mean, that stuff was there, but I was outside playing sports, football, basketball, baseball, tennis, soccer, you name it. A big part of my neighborhood friendship community was about sports, and also kind of set a foundation for character for me to have some level of self-discipline in my career as well. This is also a picture of my sister and my half brother Harrison. My dad ended up getting remarried. My stepmom Kathy, who's very much still involved in my life, and my father, and that's my brother Harrison, who's actually looking at colleges right now. He's about to graduate from a school called Malvern Prep up in Malvern, Pennsylvania. And probably the most important photo on this screen is my wife, my amazing wife, and my three girls. My wife's name is Amanda, and my oldest girl, she's 8. Her name is Harper. My second oldest is Ryla. She's 3 years old, and then my baby, Evie Lou, she is 9 months old. So I was really born into a family business. My grandfather had 8 kids. 6 of his 8 kids worked in a family business. He started the business around 1970, and he was literally selling office supplies out of the back of his truck. And he would stop at these different buildings and try to sell them office supplies. And he grew that company to about 200 staff members, and they were doing about 35 million in sales. And my father was the president of that business. And I just remember growing up, climbing on the boxes in the warehouse, and then also I remember one time my grandfather let me count the cash in this cash box just to occupy me, and I stole $20 and put it in my pocket. And as we were leaving, I took the $20 out of my pocket, and my dad saw me with this $20. He marched me back into my grandfather's office, and he explained to my grandfather that he stole this, and I had to apologize to my grandfather. My grandfather essentially took me by the arm and walked me around to the multiple people that were at the office that day working, and he said, "Not only did you steal from me and your father, but you stole from this person and this person and this person," and he really rightfully shamed me for my act. And these are just the kind of lessons that were instilled in me growing up about the importance of family and importance of integrity and this kind of stuff. So here's some more pictures of some of the family business. My uncle still owns a company up in Philadelphia. He's a client of mine. I've actually worked with him on a few different occasions. And there's an old sign from a building that we owned up in Philadelphia. This is another picture of my grandfather and his 3 sons. Remember, he had 8 kids and 3 sons. And my other uncle who owns an office furniture building or business up in Philadelphia as well. So a little bit about me and some of my background, and then walking into my professional career and trying to make my own path as an entrepreneur. I studied marketing and with a minor in real estate and a minor in psychology at Lehigh University. I graduated in 2007, and most of my undergrad was focused on football. I played outside linebacker until I was a junior, and when I couldn't play anymore because I got a concussion, and I just could not stomach hitting 300-pound offensive linemen on a regular basis because I was really a hard hitter with my head. And once I got that concussion, I was not as interested in doing that anymore. So, which is a good thing because I focused on my academics. I got a good job for a company called CB Richard Ellis out of undergrad, and I worked in commercial real estate for 3 years in corporate America. And I transitioned. I wasn't meant for corporate America because there were certain things I wanted to do and certain things I put a lot of time and creativity into that the company sort of denied. And I wasn't very happy about that. So I went on to get a graduate degree from Oklahoma State University. And this is where my real entrepreneurial journey began because I went into business with a business partner of mine and still a good longtime friend named Grant. And I'll tell you a little bit about that business. But the Oklahoma State University had a program there ran by a guy named Dr. Michael Morris, and he gave me a job at the Riata Center for Entrepreneurship, and that I was exposed to things with small businesses and entrepreneurs that I don't think I could have ever duplicated in any other place. So I also got a graduate degree, a doctorate of business administration from Florida International University later on in my career, and I'll talk about that a little bit later as well. So this particular trip here, this was a platform foundational pivot in my career because at this time I was in grad school. I was 26 years old, and I went to South Africa on a study abroad trip. And what happened was we were in this orientation for grad school, and a couple professors walked in and talked about their trip to Italy for study abroad, and they were going to go to Greece, and they got this trip to France, and really about a little bit of classwork and lots of sightseeing. And then in comes Dr. Michael Morris, and he's like, "Listen, if you want to go study abroad and relax, this is not the trip for you. We're going to work, we're going to serve clients, and it's going to be in ghettos of South Africa, and it's going to be much different. And if you want to get stuff done, you want to be productive, and oh, here's a little bit about entrepreneurship, then go ahead and apply to come on to study abroad." And I basically at that point in time committed to doing that. And again, this trip just changed my life. We had two clients. We worked with some universities all over the U.S., and we kind of came together as consultants, and I got to see how my degrees and how my education could help these small businesses very very tangibly. We had to do these deliverables. We had a mobile car wash company and an internet cafe were our two clients, and it was very meaningful to them for us to come in and spend the time looking at their business and offering them some advice. But also, it's not advice. We would put in programming. We would, for instance, we'd start an internet instead of an internet cafe, we had it was a training class, a training curriculum that we put together, and we helped him with the marketing material, and we helped him get his first customers. So we actually would do things in the business, and how impactful that was. So that was a great experience. Really taught me about the empowering nature of entrepreneurship. So this company is called G4 Social. This was the first technically company that I owned. My friend and I, Grant, we would go to local restaurants and local places that people that were very popular. This is when Facebook first started coming out, 2007 to about 2011. We were messing around with this, and we had an interesting business model, interesting revenue model. We would tell them that they basically didn't have a fan page, didn't have they called them fan pages back then, and we would offer them for every fan that we got them, they would have to give us $1. Sometimes we'd negotiate $1.25 or $1.50, but they had no fans. So we created the fan page, and then we owned the fan page. We branded it with their marketing material, and we went out and solicited people to become fans of these pages. And it was easy to get a really really popular local restaurant that doesn't have a Facebook page going from 0 fans to like 2,500 fans within 2 weeks. So we did that for a long period of time. We made some decent money, and it was a lot of fun. We also owned a company called My Water IQ a little bit later in my career, and this was really interesting because we would take government infrastructure that was monitoring residential water usage. So they had these like sort of satellite systems that would pick up on the meter readings, and they had the great information that you can see the variance in water usage. So they'd see it when it spikes. So essentially, the person has a toilet running or there's some oddity in their water usage, and we can alert them when there's a high water variance. And we made no money doing this. We set up the software, the alert system, but we packaged that into the pool company that I'm about to tell you guys about in a little bit. So that was interesting as well. So this is the bedrock of my leadership. For about 14 years, I was the president of this family business. I owned 20% of it with my father, in business with my father, and learning from him and spending time with him was just incredible. He would always lead. He'd say this phraseology. He'd say, if I get hit by a bus, you're going to have to do this job. And he would say that obnoxiously all the time. So I literally worked next to him in the same office for 7 years. And man, we butted heads, but we really worked it out. And we grew this business from about 40 staff members doing $4 million in sales to about 100 staff members doing $12 million in sales. And we sold the business at the end of 2021, beginning of 2022 to a private equity firm. I took my 20% and I rolled 5% of that into a new called Pool Centurion. So these are just some of the pools that we built. Pretty significant. We would do design, build, and maintain both pool and landscape. So it was really three companies. We had a construction company, a pool service and repair company, and a landscaping company, all under one family business. And we had two pieces of commercial real estate too that we managed. So it was a beast. It was a beast. And this is where I really cut my teeth in leadership. And it was really all about having a physical presence every day, getting up every day, sometimes 6 days a week, getting in the office, making sure the crews were running, calling people out on some of their mistakes, being willing to have these difficult conversations, walking into the dining room of some of my clients' homes and pretty much doing anything just to collect payment from them at times because it was difficult to get paid. We're contractors essentially. So there was a lot of learning lessons throughout that. I put this slide in here. My daughter Harper is here. She is just a warrior. She beat cancer, and she basically got diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia in 2020 January, and is now healed. So this just kind of shows some other pictures for you about the learning journey. I wrote a book called Deemed Essential, and we currently own a piece of commercial real estate in Florida City that we're leasing out to other businesses. And so I also am managing principal of a company called Arch Consulting, still a co-owner of Pool Centurion. I do some work with the FCA to try to encourage and inspire athletes to build character through faith. And that's it. So just here's some other pictures of me giving management and leadership talks all over the country for trade service businesses. And I just love doing this. And I'm really grateful that the story, the entrepreneurial path has brought me to this place. And again, thank you for letting me share. And thank you for allowing me to be a mentor with the venture mentoring team. God bless.